It had been a noisy day. Katie found out that balloons are not always easy to pop. Orbie discovered that the tick-tock of a clock kept count of the seconds. And they both learned that when two people talk at the same time, one or both of them can't hear what the other is saying. When they were at the park, Katie and Orbie made a new friend. His name was Christian. Christian loved to do somersaults like Orbie. He could swing really high on the swing like Katie. Christian did all kinds of silly things like squeeze his lips together and make a fish face that made his friends laugh. They had so much fun playing with Christian that Orbie asked Mom if he could come over to their house for lunch. When Orbie and Christian's mom agreed that that would be fine, the three friends raced all the way home. When Christian saw Orbie's toy dump truck, he was very excited, and that was when it first happened. He tried to say, "I like your truck," but the word truck did not want to come out. Christian tried. He pushed it out as best he could, and Katie could see he was in trouble and helped him. She said, "Truck," for Christian. And Christian stopped and smiled, and yes, he said. Then he asked if he could have a turn, and when he went to say the word turn, it didn't want to come out either. Orbie mimed a turn, and Christian nodded his head and agreed. Katie wondered why Christian's mouth got so stuck. She quietly left the room as the two friends varoomed around the floor. Downstairs, Katie found Mom, who was stirring a pot of tomato soup, and she told Mom that all Christian could do sometimes was say a whole lot of sounds, but not the word. The word he wanted to say just wouldn't, or couldn't, come out. Katie was worried that he was sick, or broken in some way. Mom spooned the soup out into the bowls as she smiled. She told Katie that Christian was just fine. He had a stutter, which means that some sounds were hard for him to say right now. He tried, and although it didn't happen all the time, sometimes the words just didn't come out the way he wanted them to. Katie looked into the bowl of soup and sniffed. She told her Mom that she would just have to help him say some of his words. Mom touched her shoulder, and Katie turned around, and Mom told her it wasn't helpful to finish his words for him. She could help by waiting for him to say it himself. Katie wrinkled her nose, and Mom reassured her, yes, he can, if you give him a chance. At that moment, Christian and Orbie rumbled down the stairs. Orbie tooted that they were two hungry truck drivers and wondered if lunch was ready. And Mom nodded and placed the big bowls of hot soup on the table. At lunch, Christian had no trouble pronouncing his words at all. Katie had almost forgotten that he stuttered. After lunch, they decided to play dress-up, and with giggles and shrieks, they put together some really silly costumes. Katie was dressed up like a doctor, Christian was dressed up like a clown, and Orbie had on the long cape of a magician. Orbie put on a black mask which kept slipping down. Christian set the elastic up higher on the back of Orbie's head. Katie went to adjust it, and Christian, when he tried to tell her not to touch it, began to stutter. The word touch was fighting with Christian. Orbie went to toot it, and Katie touched his arm in a gentle, shh, don't say anything kind of way. Orbie and Katie waited. Orbie wasn't sure why, but Katie just smiled at Christian to let him know it was okay to take his time and to get the word out. Within a few seconds, the word popped out and Christian beamed. He felt very good about doing it all by himself. And Orbie was so proud of him, he clapped, and the three friends headed for the stairs. Orbie trumpeted for Mom to come and see the surprise they had for her. As Mom walked into the hall, Katie did a silly doctor walk all the way down the stairs. Mom chuckled and told Katie that a good doctor was hard to find. Then Orbie tooted, and Christian came around the corner and did a funny bumping down the stairs, making a funny face. Mom and Katie laughed, and Christian did a little bow at the bottom. Orbie tooted again, and then he spun around the corner and went to take his first step. Part of his cape fell on the floor in front of him. Katie, Mom, and Christian could see that Orbie was about to trip. Katie was so shocked, she couldn't speak, only a little squeak came out. Mom pointed with her finger at his cape, but Christian shouted at Orbie to stop. He was going to trip. Orbie stopped right away and moved the cape from in front of him. Mom turned to Christian and gave him a big hug. She thanked him for stopping Orbie. Orbie thanked him too, as he did the silliest magician walk down the stairs that he could think of. When he got to the very bottom, everybody clapped except for Katie. Katie was staring at Christian. And when all the giggling died down, Katie smiled. She grabbed up Christian in a hug and told him he'd said the word trip without stopping at all. Christian looked at her. He thought about the words he'd said, and then he twirled around in a circle. I did, he laughed. Katie said she had wanted to say stop, but she was so afraid of what was going to happen that all that came out was a squeak. And Mom said she pointed because she thought it was quicker, but it was Christian's words that kept Orbie safe. I guess I don't have to tell you that from that day on, Christian knew he had done a very important thing for his new friend Orbie, and Katie and Orbie knew it too. It made Christian feel absolutely wonderful inside. And do you know, if one day you do something that's hard for you to do, and it helps a friend, you'll feel very wonderful inside too.
Did you know? Jellies and jams are made of yummy fruit. Strawberries, raspberries, and all kinds of other berries make really good jams. Jam tastes great with peanut butter. Or you can put it on pancakes when you run out of syrup. Yum, yum.